What's going on, guys? It's your boy EasyOGH Mods here, and you can call me Mac. And today I have another commentary, Let's Talk Modding, and this is about motherboards. Now, if you don't know what a motherboard is, which most people might just think, oh, it's a circuit board inside my computer, and it does whatever I need to do. But for the people that kind of want to know what type of motherboard, as we're referring to, which is an Xbox 360 motherboard, do I have? Now you might hear the saying, oh, I want a Trinity RGH, or I have a Trinity RGH, which are probably the most common RGHs, and probably one of the best types. And, so yeah. So, what exactly is the Xbox 360's name for the motherboard? Now there's about three types of consoles, including Fat, Slims, and Elites. I'm not counting the original Xbox or the Xbox One, because they're very irrelevant to modding. There is no Xbox One modification yet, but there is an Xbox original modification, but we don't really, no one really still goes on that for modding. Some people might, but anyway, getting back to the point, let's start with the Fats. Now, the Xbox 360 Fat motherboards are probably one of the oldest types of motherboards that are actually pretty good motherboards. I would have to say that they're pretty well designed. Some parts they are, and some parts they really aren't. One of the things is the way that it's kind of formatted. It's a little bit junky, a little bit sloppy too. They really didn't design it that well. I think that some guy in his basement probably could have designed it better, and the cooling system probably could have been a little bit better, also, which I think that any Joe on the street could have made a better one, and they didn't. So the first type we're going to be talking about is a Xenon. Now this is the oldest type of motherboard. And the oldest type of motherboard is Xenon, which is made in 2005, which was the first Xbox. I think it was the arcade version, I'm not sure. But that is now a JTAG. No, it can be JTAG, but it's not the best. Nor is the cooling system. The cooling system is absolute crap. That's why it had the red ring of death. And when people would solder on it, and they would use no leading, which is when you're soldering the 60-40 leaded solder, which meaning it's 60 leaded, 40 rosin core. I might have that wrong, but if you want to correct me, go ahead. And without using lead, it would actually cause the red ring of death, because without the lead, it doesn't give that type of chemical that the motherboard should be having on the solder joints, and it would cause red ring of death, console failures, and whatnot. And that was probably the worst thing for a Xenon to have, and that's absolute crap. Now it's RGH 1.2able. Now getting off the JTAG, we're now going to be on the 1.2 RGH. Xenons is gotten progressively better. Xenons still have the cooling issue, and they are just absolute dirt cheap crap. If anybody's trying to sell it for like $130, $20, not buy for about $100, because those things are just things that you could throw out your window and what are on YouTube nowadays. Next is the Zypher 2007. So it's been about a 2-year difference before they upgraded the motherboards. The Zyphers are better. They now have HDMI. The Xenons have the AV. Now the Zyphers could produce HDMI, but the cooling system still wasn't that good. It was still crappy, I guess you can say. Ciphers are almost impossible to RGH. One of the reasons why is because of the boot timing. Now you might say, oh, I get good RGH boot times with a cipher. I've had about like 4 to 5 ciphers and I've never had a good successful glitch with it. And I even, did RGH2, RGH 1.2, did it with the ASV3. I tried so many methods and I can never get it to boot. And these are on all 4 of these consoles. And it's really pissed me off because of it. So ciphers, they're probably not the best types of consoles. So just stay away from those. Next is Opus. This is about a year difference. We're now in 2008. And these are probably a step up, but they do not have HDMI. Now, I've RGH'd in Opus once, and I can't really remember much of it because... Okay, guys, sorry about that. I had to go do a couple things and whatnot. So back to the Opus. Opuses are pretty good. I'm probably like way off track right now, but yeah, I think I did like an Opus once, but I can't remember. And yep, there's still not a step up from any of these ciphers really. And but when we start getting into just Xbox identification, once we start getting into the the Falcons and Jaspers, that's when kind of starts picking up. So the Falcons, which are pretty decent consoles. I like Falcons myself. They have pretty good boot times. They have increased the speed of the boot times. Well, they have a little bit of different traces or whatever. I don't really know, but yeah, the boot times are a lot better. RGH 1.2 and JTAG are very smooth with this install, and Jaspers on the other hand are the same thing. They're newer, but the only thing is that they have 16 megabyte, 256, and 512 megabytes, which is half a gig. Not half a gig, but somewhere around half a gig, and that's a lot. You can tell if you go to your storage, if you don't have any storage of 16 megabyte, if you go to your storage and you have somewhere around like 200 or something, you might have a 256 or a 512. If you really don't know, you can obviously tell if you do or do not have a 16 megabyte. You could probably read 2 nans, which is going to take a while. And then you can just write the ECC to it, and if you get it to glitch, I don't really know. I mean, there's a way of actually doing it, but not a lot of people know how to do it. And updating these consoles are really easy. You can just do it through, I think it's Zell, and you could just do it through there, and you can get the NAND from Zell. I think you gotta do something with JRunner, but it's really easy. Then we start getting on to the Trinities and Chronas. These are probably the most common. They use the RGH 2.0 method. There is no RGH 3, there is no RGH 1, no JTAG method for Trinities. Trinities are the slims, the black, kind of big circle in the middle, and they kind of look like a slanted dinosaur that just had like a jackhammer shoved into it. But no. Trinities are the most common. They use a glitch chip, which you could get pretty good boot times off it now. They used to use the Cool Runner a lot, but then Team Executor kind of really stopped innovating, and they overpriced all their crap. So that's why no one really buys from them anymore. And I think Team Executor is just done. But anyway, getting off topic. They have really good boot times. They're really easy to do. Updating them is Zell, and yeah, you can update them through Zell and get the NAND dump again for JRunner. There's nothing really different between the NANDs throughout the Xenon, Cypher, Opus, and Falcon. There's not much of a difference, but next, moving on to the Chronos, which are a lot more complicated. They have several factors inside of them. They have a 48 megabyte NAND, or I think the full dump is, I don't know what the full dump is, but Chronos have a lot of factors. If you're ever going to be RGHing a Corona, a couple of the factors are postfix adapter, SD tool for reading and writing. I think bridging 2 points that are really tiny, and if you don't bridge them correctly, or if you break a pad, or if you burn a pad, I don't really recommend you retracing it, because it's absolutely impossible to retrace unless you have a machine that does it for you, because the traces are so tiny that you'll end up ripping another trace off, and that's really not what we want to do. So there's a lot of factors that play into it. Usually use an ACE chip. Now, why are Coronas not as popular as Trinities? Well, thing is Coronas have a really bad rep for updating, and I kind of agree. Unless you have a Corona V1, actually no, there's not really much of a difference. Yeah, they're just a pain to update, which it shouldn't be the reason why you aren't getting a Corona, because Trinities, on the other hand, there's not much different, actually. I don't know why I'm giving Trinities some flack, but Coronas, I mean, I really like them. I prefer buying a Corona, because they have a couple of the updated hardware and stuff like that. Some things that aren't reliable as a Trinity wouldn't have. I think the Trinities have a couple Southbridge problems, I think, and the Corona doesn't have the HANA chip. HANA chip is usually the first thing to fail, which is your video. On a Corona, you don't have a HANA chip, and 9 times out of 10, well, about 7 times out of 10, a couple of your failures are because of the HANA chip, and that's the thing that you do not want to destroy. Or if it does get destroyed, so I'm drinking some Gatorade, and a couple of the things are is that Coronas are, I would have to see, better than Trinities, because I don't know, they just seem better hardware. They seem better manufactured than Trinity now that it's updated. New things are being added. Sure, they might patch some vulnerabilities, such as not being able to use LAN points. RGHing Corona, it's not easy, but still, I think you will see less likely failure in Corona than Trinity. So, yep. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 types of versions of Coronas. Actually, let me just get it. Identification. So, the Corona V1, which was the first Corona, is with a 250 gig hard drive. So if it came with the 250 gigabyte hard drive, that means you either have a Corona V1 or a Corona V3 and 5. If you have a Corona V1, as a 16 megabyte NAND, you could just use the standard NAND read write. Now if you have a Corona V2 without the HDD, and if you open it up, you'll get the 4 gigabyte eMMC NAND, which meaning that your NAND is under the motherboard. That's usually requiring the SD read and write kit, and then it has post out, but some people say that there are posts being removed, so then you gotta get the post fix adapter. Corona V3 and 5 are 250 gigabyte hard drives, but you need a post out fix it. You need a post fix adapter. You use standard NAND read and write. 24 gig V4/6. Now the V4 is most likely in the slims. Now the V6 is mostly in the slim elites. These are the newer ones that look like the Xbox One. People say to me, "Is that an Xbox One?" No, it's not. You want to know what it is? It's a newer console. It's very hard to RGH because you need to bridge the points, read and write the NAND, postfix adapters, so it's pretty money consuming. That's why people prop up the prices on a Corona, but again, I'm not gonna get into this again. So that's just about it. The Xbox One, I mean, I don't have anything confirmed from any of the Team Executor members or really any significant modding groups of information. The only thing that I know is that we do have a NAND a NAND dump. That's just about it. Now it's about a 5 gigabyte dump, meaning it could take at least about a year or two before we can officially decrypt all of its NAND. Since it's 5 gigs, it's going to be a while, and it's going to suck. Yeah, I mean, imagine just going insane, just trying to figure out each and single line of code and hex, and I don't really know what they use. I think it's hex or it's a good question. So, yep, that's just about it, guys. That's the motherboard talk. Hope you guys did enjoy it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Deadly force is authorized.